went to the pub.
I had a bit too much to drink.
Yes, you did. But not too much.
I don't actually remember going to bed that night.
Do you not?
Well, no, like, I know that it was early, and I know that we're just like, oh, I'm so tired after going out and drinking all afternoon, I'm just going to go to bed. And that was about 7:30, I think.
That's really interesting because it was such a slow afternoon because we had waitress service, which you had called last week. In last week's episode, you said, do you think there'll be waitress service?
Yes.
And I said, oh, I'm not sure about that. And there was. But because it took a while, like normally you'd be at the bar, straight back, at the bar, straight back. But because it took a little bit of time, that meant that we had a gentle afternoon. Having said that, we were the last ones there.
Yeah.
From our friends.
And everyone had a beer when they arrived at the table, and I had another beer before everyone else got...
I was just looking at you going, and there's Mark having an interim beer.
Yeah, yeah.
But wasn't it brilliant to get out again and
It
sat
was.
outside, beer garden, see our mates?
Yeah, it was really nice. Beer garden, waitress service. Didn't have to stand up all day.
I would quite like that.
Yeah.
Portaloos.
Yeah, it was... and at a wedding venue, so that was always nice.
It's lovely. And also, when I took our son into our wedding venue, he smiled the entire time.
It's like
when
he
we went
knew.
to the baby changing. So, made my little heart melt. Just very excited. Like, this is where Mummy got married.
Oh.
So I'm sure he really took all of that in.
Yeah. It's been a sad week.
Has it? Why?
Yes. All films have been delayed.
Oh, yeah. Tenet is never going to come out.
No, Tenet's not coming out. Mulan's not coming out.
Oh, Mulan's been delayed as well, has it?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? You know more about this than me.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is coming out 1st of September.
Oh, and I saw today that is going to be 78 minutes long.
5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've managed to avoid the trailer, which I'm quite happy about.
I think it got mixed comments, the trailer.
Well...
So, yeah, I think it's better just to leave it and to see it when it comes out, which apparently is soon.
Yeah, to be honest, I'll just be happy to spend time with them again. Because, I've grown up with them, so... Yeah.
And again, going back to our wedding, the band Wild Stallions was one of the tables.
Yes, they were.
Because we had bands from films and TV as our table names.
Yeah, fictional bands.
Fictional, but were some real? No, they couldn't have been.
Because they're bands from films and TV.
I don't remember. I'm thinking, Marvin Gaye and the Starlight.
No, it's not Marvin Gaye.
It's not Marvin Gaye. Tell me what it is.
Marvin Berry.
That's it. Marvin Berry and the Starlight.
Marvin Gaye, who died in the early 80s, did not appear in that.
I'm really tired. Again.
Yes. Shall we get on to telly then?
Yes, let's do it.
Watching television.
So, we've not watched much together this week.
No.
But you have mentioned something that interests me, I think.
Yeah.
Something that I've never heard of, and it feels like something I should be telling you about.
When I said this to you, you went, like, this is the quote, "What the F is that?" Like, you didn't even swear, you just said, "What the F is that?" And I said to you,
It's quite uncharacteristic.
Yeah. And then I said, that's probably not the right tone to be going for this thing that I'm going to talk about. So yeah, it was a documentary called Athlete A.
Okay, yeah.
It's a 2020 documentary. It's on Netflix. I came across it because I was flicking through Netflix, and I think it was like the 6th. You know, they're doing trending things now on Netflix where you can see how many people are, well, apparently, how many people are watching.
Yeah, they've got like a chart.
That's it, yeah. So it was like 6th on the chart or something like that. It was fairly near the top. And the other ones, I just wasn't interested. And I had a quick look at it. And you know I love a documentary. So I had a quick look and I thought, oh, this might be interesting. So 2020 documentary about the sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse scandal in USA Gymnastics, which is the Olympic organisation behind gymnastics in the USA.
Oh, okay.
That is not what you thought it was, is it? Because your
Absolutely
face
not.
has just gone, yeah, I shouldn't have made light of this.
Nope, absolutely not. Okay.
Yeah.
So is this a new thing? Has this been out a while, or?
So it was meant to be premiering at Tribeca,
Okay.
which I think is Robert De Niro's film festival
Yes.
in the Tribeca part of New York,
Yes.
isn't it? Because we've been in that part of New York, haven't
Yeah,
we?
it's the triangle beneath something.
Yes, that's why I'm doing a triangle with my hands.
Yeah,
but
audio feature, love.
great for podcasting. So yeah, it was meant to premiere there, but because of COVID, it didn't. So I'm really, really pleased. That was meant to be in April, and it came out in the end of June. So I'm really pleased that this is on Netflix, because this is a documentary that needs to be seen.
Okay.
I don't know if you know anything about this scandal that has hit USA Gymnastics. It's been in the news quite a lot.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I'm aware of similar in UK football recently. There's been quite a lot of convictions recently around this. And still, survivors are coming forward as part of that. But no, I've... you know what? Now you've mentioned it, it rings a bell. But no, I've not... it wouldn't be something that I could bring close to mind.
So this is a behind-the-scenes, sort of as it happened, documentary following the Indianapolis Star, which is the newspaper. It's known as the Indy Star. It's a newspaper that broke the story. The investigative journalists, a team of them, and you see them working behind the scenes, finding people who've come forward. They're calling them Jane Does because they don't want to be... they don't want to be named in the press, but they want to get their story out there. And then another one, and they've all got the same story, and they don't know each other. And then the same names are coming up, and the same MOs and the methods and the way that this abuse has happened to these women. And this is going back into like the 70s, but also up to, which was at the time present day, so 2015, 16, 17, during that period. And very sadly, some events that occurred during the London Olympics, which really, it's... When I say it's harrowing...
Yes.
It's not harrowing in the way that some documentaries really hang on to the detail. When you just think, oh, they're going to put a load of detail in here that's a bit exploitative and actually is more for this is going to be the most... grim documentary you've ever seen, and sometimes that can feel wrong for the survivors, wrong for what not necessarily what a documentary should be doing, should be focusing on. This is harrowing in a different way, in that you understand what has happened to these women. They are very brave in coming forward and saying, but the harrowing part's it's those little moments where they say, in London 2012 in the Olympic Village, yes, he was doing that to me. And you see pictures of them competing in London, and then knowing that night they were being sexually abused by one of the doctors.
Yeah.
It's also harrowing in you get this real sense that this is not a one-off. It is not just one person. This is a cultural issue within USA Gymnastics, and dare I say it, it's probably in another. You've talked about football. It will be in other, particularly elite sports.
Yes.
Where people are in good faith sending their children off to camps where they're not allowed mobile phones. Up to date, the modern type, but previously they wouldn't have had them anyway. They're not allowed contact with them, and they are with coaches that do not have their best interests at heart. They just want to win.
Yeah.
So the coaches are saying to someone, you've been sick for the last couple of days and you've lost 6 pounds, right, okay, but you're still fat. And you've got to keep those 6 pounds off. And you're looking at them because they're showing you a lot of historic footage of these women competing. And you're looking at them thinking, there is not a scrap of fat on them. They are elite athletes. They're incredibly lean. They're incredibly strong. Endurance, athletics, with gymnastics in particular, with the strength and the balance and the coordination, with the, flipping around in the air and flying everywhere. And, it's absolutely amazing what they can do with their bodies. And you look at them, you think, how could anyone say that woman is fat? But this mind games and gaslighting and, I've got a broken toe, I can't compete on it. You haven't got a broken toe. There's nothing wrong with your toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So harrowing is a word that I keep using because it's hearing those stories and having that understanding that there's so much going on for these women, and they have such long-term consequences. The sexual abuse, but also the emotional, the physical, really has gone they've carried it with them for the rest of their lives, and the women in the documentary say that. But it's also incredibly inspiring because in following the reporting, which really felt a lot like Spotlight. Do you remember the film Spotlight?
That's what's come to mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the documentary style because that's what it felt like. There's one guy who you could totally see Mark Ruffalo playing. He's the one that's out there. He's meeting everyone. He's the one who senses that there's something not quite right with the character that's beloved in his community, that does loads of things for autistic kids, and everyone's going, he can't possibly be a bad un, and clearly he is. He's the one that says, well, actually, I'm going to pursue this because there's something wrong here. But incredibly inspiring in the way that the women come together, in the way that they try to achieve justice, and in the way that they find a voice and regain, to a certain extent, the power that they lost, particularly as young women. And a lot of these women, they were kept childlike. They were physically, but also mentally, not allowed to do things, not given any of their own independence or autonomy. And this is them as women in their 30s, 40s, coming forward and saying, actually, this happened to me, and trying to take that power back. I did not think I would love this documentary as much as I do, and saying love the documentary, so it doesn't quite sit right with me because of its topic. Yeah. But this has to be seen because as a parent, I'm looking at this thinking, if my son was ever to become involved in sport, or not necessarily elite sport, but in these sort of things, that I need to be aware that these things are happening. If this is happening at an elite level, where people are meant to be the most professional, the most high quality, there's meant to be so many safeguards. These are people who are going to the Olympics, It's got the brand of the Olympics. Then, we have to be aware that these things could be happening in other spaces as well. But also just that message of making sure that children, even if they are incredibly talented, and these women were, that we don't abuse that talent, that we make sure that they're enjoying what they do. And that's the message that I took from it as well. So I really, I think it's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think people have really got behind it, and because the story is continuing and there's more and more coming out now. So I'm really glad people are getting behind the documentary, and I hope it keeps going. Is it a one-parter? It is, yeah. But I can see them. I could see them coming back because there's still things to happen here. There are people that need to be brought to account, and a large part of this is saying, okay, so we've got this, and this, but what about these people? What about this part of the organisation, and how are they really changing culturally? Are they really listening to what's going on?
Okay, right.
So really recommend it. It's on Netflix now. Steel yourself for it. It is. It can be a difficult watch at times, but I think there's so much to get out of it.
Is it a couple of hours long?
Oh, honey, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
That just shows.
Did you watch it in a one-hour?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I think it's under 2 hours. I think it was like an hour and a half, an hour and 40, something like that.
Okay, yeah, 1:43.
Oh, there we go.
So it's a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's brilliant.
Okay.
What have you been watching?
So you looked very confused when I told you about this earlier.
Yeah. So you've been watching Bad Education?
Yes. Not the Jack Whitehall thing.
Oh, right. Okay. So what is it?
Right. So this is a TV movie.
Right.
Which sort of paints certain pictures in your mind.
Uh-huh.
I think probably should just explain for people who don't have Sky Movies. Sky Movies market themselves as having a premiere every day. And it doesn't take a genius to work out there aren't 365 big movies out each year.
No.
So they tend to have like a big film on Friday. Sort of this week it is it Good Boys, I think it is, or something like that. Next week it's like Charlie's Angels, and the week after it's The Joker.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And then they sometimes have like a sort of a housey film or a smaller film that would have made cinemas on a Saturday, maybe a Sunday. But during the week, it is largely made-for-TV, straight-to-DVD movies.
Yeah.
However, this is a HBO film. So HBO in the US, you'll have heard of, sort of prestige drama. And they do sort of between sort of 3 and 10 made-for-TV movies each year. Most of which don't get any traction over here. I think probably the biggest ones that I can think of are Behind the Candelabra.
Oh, right.
Which got a theatrical run here.
Yeah, it was a great film.
Going back to the 90s, the Daryl Hannah Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, which also got a theatrical run here.
Yeah.
But made-for-TV movies, essentially, in America. And the other one that kind of stands out when I was looking at the list earlier is Gia, the Angelina Jolie, which is best known for her kissing Juliet from Lost on it. Yeah. So this is that. And I think, like I say, a lot of these sort of pass everyone by. But this came out just as the country was locking down.
Right.
So a lot of podcasts that I listen to paid it a lot more attention than they probably normally would for a made-for-TV film. This stars Hugh Jackman and Alison Janney. So, yeah, it's somewhere beyond your standard made-for-TV film. And it's a true story about... They play the superintendent and assistant superintendent for a Long Island school system. Do you understand what a superintendent is? I'm going to patronise you here.
You are?
In terms of schools.
Is it like... Are you talking about like deputy head or head...
So I only know this through The Simpsons, which I know you've never seen.
Yeah.
In America, a superintendent is kind of a head of the LEA equivalent here.
Oh, so like the local... Right.
So he would look after a number of schools. He
Yeah.
is accountable... Like, he's responsible for the headmasters.
Right.
But I think in America, they're far more visible and far more responsible.
Okay. So at like an executive level, looking
Yes.
after a number of schools.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So Hugh Jackman plays a real-life character, Frank Tassoni, who has turned this, in particular, high school in Long Island into being the 4th-ranked public school in the whole of America. And that makes him a local celebrity because that puts up property prices nearby, means the area's getting lots of investment because families want to move there. So he is sort of the golden boy. He is somewhat of a James Bond character in that you can see he is smooth, like... Students walk by him and he's like, "Hi Johnny, how you doing? You're Frank's sister. How's he getting on at NIMS College?"
And I can imagine Jackman being brilliant at that because that's him completely.
Alison Janney is a little bit more ruffled, but certainly living a life. So there is a plot point that is revealed halfway through the film, or certainly a third of the way through the film, which is revealed as a surprise, but it's how the film is marketed externally, so I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
Whilst being very successful for the film, they are embezzling thousands of dollars out of the school system.
Oh, okay.
And I swear we are not this well organised.
Right.
This was exposed by the school paper.
Oh.
And then went national
Look
around.
at us.
Yeah. Look at that. That's
amazing.
synergy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Genuinely had no idea that you were genuinely thought it was the Jack Whitehall film. But look what's happened.
So that's why I had a big smile during your thing.
Oh, right. I did wonder, given the
subject.
Topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so the school paper discovered
the
and that's why it's called Bad Education, right?
Yes.
Got it.
As you would expect. Now, I'm not a big Hugh Jackman fan.
Okay.
I know that everyone loves him playing Wolverine. He wasn't the Wolverine from the cartoon for me, and I held it against him ever since.
Okay, well, who was your Wolverine then?
The Wolverine from the cartoon from the 1992.
No, but who was meant to be Wolverine but wasn't?
Oh,
the Scottish fella.
Yeah.
Who's in Mission Impossible 3.
I've got Dermot Monahan in my
Tandy
head, which
Newton.
isn't Dermot Monahan.
Everyone's like screaming at the thing, but it was meant to be him.
Dougray Scott.
That's it. Oh, phew. Oh, I'm so pleased you got that.
Yeah.
Dougray Scott. So Dougray Scott.
No.
No.
I want the cartoon version of Wolverine on my screen.
Okay.
And I know that's never going to happen.
Yes.
And that was how I loved that cartoon. I've since watched it on Disney Plus, and it's not as good as I remembered. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's good. He's a good actor. He's a good script. He's very charismatic.
I really like him in Prisoners, and I think he is the perfect choice in The Greatest Showman, which I know you haven't seen.
No,
Have you seen Prisoners?
No.
Oh, interesting. Okay. He is brilliant in this.
Okay.
This is a character with a lot to hide. He is certainly playing a role Frank Tassoni was certainly playing a role in his community, and it looks into this. Alison Janney is as good as you would expect from CJ from The West Wing. Recent Academy Award nomination. I don't think she got it for I, Tonya, did she? But
oh, I don't know. I think she may have won some things.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine her going up on stage and talking about it, but I don't think it was BAFTA, but it may have been some of the other award ceremonies that were out.
Ray Romano is in this. Do you know who Ray Romano is?
I'm looking at you.
He's
you've
Everybody
mentioned
Loves
him.
Raymond.
Okay.
So if I show you a picture of him,
yeah, that is him. Yeah.
Playing the head of the executive board of the school. It's a very Ray Romano performance, but he's perfectly fine in it. Geraldine Vishwanatha, I'm probably butchered that name, but plays the reporter. I think she's a combined character of a number of students, but she's the person who leads the investigation.
Okay.
I'll start with the good things about this. Jackman is brilliant. Janney is brilliant. All the cast are brilliant. Despite them being awful people, you enjoy spending time with them. There's loads of little roles in this that really work. So, for example, Alison Janney's son, who makes the big mistake, which certainly leads to the investigation coming through, is played by Jimmy Tatro, who played Dylan in the first series of American Vandal, which we really enjoyed.
Oh, we loved American Vandal.
Yeah.
I recommended that to one of our mates the other day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, who was looking for something to watch, and I was like, American Vandal is the way to go.
Yeah. So watch American Vandal.
Also watch American Vandal, everyone.
Yeah, Emilia largely plays the same character, a sort of witless person.
It is, okay.
And they are brilliant. The bad point about this is the film is far more interested in Hugh Jackman and Alison Janney than it is any part of the investigation.
Okay.
I can understand why, because they are absolutely owning it on screen. They are the people on the poster, and they are the people that, if you watch this film, they have what you've come for. But there is a card at the end, where they say, this is what happened to people, this is what happened to people, this is what happened to people. And the girl who does the reporting gets one line, and that's it.
Oh, that's a shame.
And then, you can kind of look her up, and she has had an interest. She's made a career. She's not gone into journalism, but she's gone into certain, higher stuff. Certainly the person who led that she's mostly based off. I found her LinkedIn and I'd looked through that. She's got LinkedIn Gold, so she probably knows who I am now. But I imagine loads of people have looked her up.
Yeah.
So yeah, as such, it becomes more of a sort of equivalent of Mad Men, where the plot kind of takes a second nature. It is just a case of these people are stealing this money and stuff happens to them, but watch what they do while it happens.
Right. So you wanted a little bit more of the investigative journalism.
Absolutely. You see the girl go down into the archives, and the standard thing of her looking through a piece of paper, and there's probably a montage of her highlighting bits of paper and stuff like that.
A bit more detail.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more throwaway. It's more of a character piece and not
absolutely is a
necessarily
character piece.
Okay.
But this is a really, really good entertaining thing. And like I say, it's there on Sky Movies, and I think a lot of people with Sky Movies will have missed it because it was just thrown out halfway through the week.
I've never heard of this. So I hadn't even seen it when I've been scrolling through like the Sky premiere.
No, it's been buried. Yeah. If you search for Bad Education, like Jack Whitehall comes up first.
It's got Jackman, who, as you've said, his star is shining bright for so many reasons. You would have thought this would have been pushed a bit more, particularly given lockdown, COVID.
Absolutely.
So that's fascinating. So that's another recommendation for this week. It's a good week.
Definitely.
Date night.
No.
No. Oh.
We have watched something together.
Oh, we have. Sorry,
yes.
Not date night yet. We're going to go back to a show that we talked about. Was it 2 episodes ago?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it last episode?
No, I think it's 2 episodes ago.
Was it 2 episodes ago? So we're going to return just briefly to There She Goes.
Because we finished it this week.
We did. We rattled through it and finished all the episodes this week. And we wanted just to sort of round it off.
First of all, just an addendum, we were scratching our heads as to why BBC hadn't put the first series on the iPlayer. We have since found out that it is now, the first series is streaming on BritBox, which is kind of annoying. I don't understand why anyone would get BritBox, because it seems like it's ITV3, the streaming service.
I'm really about it, because we have nearly all the streaming services, right?
Yeah.
We've even got Disney Plus, which, I know we're going to dip in and out of, but
yes.
It's another expense, it's another thing to have on. And not to be political, but like pay our TV license. And I know the TV license goes towards a number of things. It doesn't just go towards this one show that we really like and want to see. But sometimes you just want to like go back and watch something, and now I'm going to have to pay another service to go and see it. And I've found this recently. I think it's got on my wick a bit more this week because, slight sidestep, I've been watching Broadchurch, series 1 of Broadchurch, while I've been sort of doing things with Blake, where I've been feeding him, when I've been sorting out, and it's become, I put it on in the background just because I couldn't find anything else to watch, which didn't need me to use my brain.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll just stick it on and it can play in the background and I'll probably not even notice it. And I ended up getting really into it and watching a couple of episodes back to back. And then it was like it was on every week, so then it was sort of slowing down. The box was catching up, and I was getting to episode 7 and and then I've got to the last episode, and I've now got to wait until next week because it's not on anywhere else. It's clearly been on the ITV player for years because there's 3 series of it, and I bet you a couple of weeks ago I could have just gone on and watched all 3 series, but now again I'm absolutely convinced this is going to be on BritBox, isn't it? So
almost
to watch
certainly
these old in inverted commas shows, you've got to pay again to see it, and I just don't know where we're going to go with all of this. Is just everything going to be a streaming service?
I can't see why anyone would get BritBox. I don't think someone would pay me £6 to watch old stuff. And I see that they're doing sort of original stuff, but is it going to be as good? I mean, no one I've ever heard looks at the Apple streaming stuff. I've never heard anyone talk about any of the Apple shows.
We talked about this a while ago, didn't we? How we just weren't hearing anything about it. I don't know whether the market's just totally saturated, but I can understand why, because even I was thinking, I just want to see the last episode. I've seen it loads of times, but when you haven't got anything else on, or when it's your one little thing that you enjoy during the day, like, oh, that sounded really sad, but you like your one little treat. It's a bit like a bit of cake for me. But I do my jobs, I do all the bits and pieces, I log in here and I change this here and I do this there, and then I just want 45 minutes with David Tennant and Olivia Colman as my little...
Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly. As my little treat. Do you know what I mean? And then I can't watch the next episode because it's off on some streaming service. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting now. There was part of me that was like, I'll just pay. And then I was like, no, I will not just pay. That's ridiculous.
You can get a 30-day free trial.
Okay.
But,
I wish I'd known that.
Use that to watch
There
She Goes.
Yeah, use that to watch There She Goes. Don't worry about Broadchurch. Stop thinking about Broadchurch, and I will as well, because that's probably going to be good for my health. But yeah, There She Goes Series 1, you'll probably get it on BritBox, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we finished... So going back to the point, we finished Series 2.
Yeah.
And, I mean, speaking for myself, it's just wonderful. It's just amazing. It makes me cry. It makes me laugh. I have loads of times where I like clutch my chest and I turn to you in like that recognition of, oh my God, they're putting things on the telly that actually like reflects everything we've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, I think this talks to us so much, partly because I think you can draw direct lines between me and David Tennant and you and Jessica Hines.
Totally. She's even an academic.
Yeah.
Like, when you watch it and you go, oh yeah, yeah.
And when he's playing on his phone while she's talking to him, I do kind of slump into my chair going, you're going to say that about me in a minute. Yeah. And he's like, oh, it'll be all right, which is the role I play in this relationship.
Exactly, whereas I'm sort of, there's scenes in it where she's got lists of everything, she's got all the medication, she's got all of she knows it exactly, and she's really working with Rosie with all of her equipment and like trying to get everyone else on board, whereas everyone else would just sort of play with it naturally and play with the different toys and things like that.
But I mean, there's an episode where they have a meeting with all their healthcare providers in a room, and it was just identical to the one
Carbon
that we
copy.
had 4 months ago. The thing which speaks to me is we've had a couple of friends come round recently, and whenever they come round, they spot things that Blake's doing that we just completely miss.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to them all the time. People, they will go to walk in school and like, oh yeah, Rosie did this today. And our friends will come round and go, oh look, he's looking for you, you know. Like, is he? Is he? Oh yeah, you're looking. Look, he's putting his hand out for that.
Never done that before.
Yeah, no.
Never done it before.
Or we've not noticed it. Is more accurate. Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh God, maybe I'm missing all this stuff that my child is doing. But it's exactly the same with this.
Yeah.
And I did say to you, when he goes to school, when he interacts with other organisations, we are bound to get that thing where they, when they come, they say, oh, Blake's done X, Y, and Z today, and it's probably been something we've been working on for about 8 months that he just won't do with us, and then one day he'll just do it for them. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and the language, I really appreciate the language that they use. So it's so true to life. You can tell this is written by people who have been through exactly the same thing, because there's one point where Jessica Hines just lists all of the healthcare medical providers that she has to interact with on a weekly basis. And it's OT, physio, speech and language therapy, portage. I could go on. And I was ticking every single one off, every single one, and adding a few extra in as well. And it's so true to life. It's so authentic.
This really deserves to be seen. Like so much that we talked about this week. It is. I think it speaks to us, but I would hope it would speak to anybody
anyone who has like family dynamics as well, of like there's the grandparents, and they're all such different characters, and they all deal with their different grandchildren in different ways, or just dealing with there's Jessica Hines' dad, who Rosie absolutely loves and has a picture of him on the wall.
Yes,
clearly just can't cope with it, and doesn't really bother with any of the children at all. So he just sits there going, and every now and again he goes, oh my, should we just take her for some pizza, or he just wants a quiet life, and it's so true to life, isn't it? Of like just how different people just deal with different people, the different relationship.
Who is the guy who plays that granddad? It's
Nigel Planer.
Neil from The Young Ones.
He's brilliant. But all of them are. And something that we didn't talk about last time was we talked about David Tennant and Jessica Hines quite a lot, because I think they really resonate with us. I think we can see ourselves in them quite a lot, like you say.
Absolutely.
But the characters around them, the mum, the dad, the grandparents, the stepdad, all of the, and I think Gregor Fisher, Rapsy Nesbitt turns up for one episode in this as well. And there's some brilliant acting going on by all of the people around them, the supporting characters.
Chris, the next door neighbour.
Oh, he's brilliant.
This is I think
I can't go on about this enough. I can't find anything negative to say about this show. Can you?
Yes.
Oh, what?
They use the Sixpence None the Richer version of There She Goes in the credits.
Yes. Well, we'll not go over that again.
But that is literally the problem. But please go and watch this so that they make more.
Yeah, I felt that the series came to a conclusion, and in a way that if they didn't get another series, there was an ending.
Yes.
But I would love to just watch this family grow and watch them throughout all the years to come.
Absolutely.
I think it would really help us, to be honest with you. So that's a selfish thing, but it's such a beautiful show. And again, just going back to what we talked about last time, we need more of this. We need more diversity on our TV. We need these stories out there, because these are hidden stories. We know that from our own experience. There's silence around disability. It is hidden. It is not talked about. People don't know what to say. People say, in inverted commas, the wrong thing, and there's not really a wrong thing to say. Sometimes you just need to have the conversation with people and say, we just need to have more of these experiences on our TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Here.
Date night.
Now it's date night. Although, before we go ahead, can I just spoil your night?
Why?
We've got all the episodes of Broadchurch Season 1 on the Plex box.
You are joking.
I just realised we're having that conversation.
How have we got it?
Because I bought it from a mum and I ripped it before I gave it to them.
Are you a little bit worried now? You're laughing in a nervous way.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So I can watch the final episode then.
Yeah, you can.
Tomorrow. I'll get up early doors.
Work the Plex box.
Oh yeah, I can't. You'll have to do it.
I'm not doing it.
Okay.
You can work it out.
Right.
Date night. Stargate. I'm moderately excited about this.
Oh, are you? Because I thought you might be a bit, like, just not bothered because it's sort of sci-fi, fantasy. You've seen a bit of it as well, like we talked about last week. You've seen the first 5 minutes, but without the subtitles.
Yeah, didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sci-fi and fantasy, that's...
I know. I just don't know if it's going to be the right one for you.
Okay,
the right type, but we'll find out.
Well, we'll find out in 2 seconds if you listen to it, or 30 seconds if you play the trailer. We'll find out in a couple of hours.
It has been buried for thousands of years. A mystery. A secret. A threshold to the future.
Where'd you find this? I've never seen anything like this.
One man will break the code and open the door.
Well, this should read Stargate. It was in front of us the whole time.
The other will lead the way.
Why are you here?
I'm here in case you succeed.
Jackson's identified the seventh symbol.
Backup storage, reserve power, on.
What is that?
It's your Stargate.
We've opened a doorway to a world we know nothing about.
The beam has locked itself onto a point somewhere in the Kalium galaxy.
It's on the other side of the known universe.
Your turn now.
They prepared for danger.
Begin final evacuation.
They expected the unknown.
Stabilizing system.
Initiated commencement sequence.
But they could never have imagined this. What a rush.
Stay right here and shoot anything that comes down that ramp. Your job here is to realign the Stargate. Can you do that or not? I can't. What the hell is going on? My orders were simple. Track down signs of any possible danger. Well, I found some.
I can't make it work without the seventh symbol.
We have to abandon base camp!
You got 7 minutes.
Now, the most amazing discovery of our time
Jackson, wait for me.
is about to become the most extraordinary adventure of all time. Kurt Russell, James Spader, Jay Davidson. Stargate. A Roland Emmerich film.
Effects have come a long way since 1994, haven't they?
I would say that the 90s were a seminal time in effects.
Because this is after Jurassic Park,
Yes.
and yet the Stargate effects very often look like a Windows 95 screensaver.
Yeah, they really do, don't they? Because of the sand and
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the liquidity of the things.
of the actual
and-
Stargate itself.
Yeah.
Like, put your finger in it and it's a bit gloopy.
Yeah.
and- yeah, good. So Stargate,
Stargate
1994.
1994. Spoilers.
Yes, spoilers for the film from another film from the 90s.
Yes.
There's a lot of 90s films. I think I'm putting them in there quite a bit.
Yes.
Never mind. I think we might need to talk a little bit about our audio-visual issues.
Oh, God, we are... So, I think we covered last week that when we first tried to watch this, which was probably about a year ago, it was through, like, one of those movie services that you get with Amazon. So, like MGM movies or whatever. Well, it must be MGM because we've just seen Lion Raw. And so I think we got a free trial for that. And then when we started watching it, there was absolutely no subtitles whatsoever.
Nope. And the first scene is, I'm presuming he's French or something like that. It's a scene from 1928, and there's an archaeologist and his daughter going a bit like Indiana Jones, actually, where they go to a site and something's discovered in the site. That something being the Stargate, but they're speaking in a different language, and so you need the subtitles, and the subtitles are normally there. And I was saying to you, no, it's not that we're not meant to know what he's saying. We are meant to know. And the subtitles are meant to be there, and they just weren't. So we cancelled our trial subscription to MGM Movies, whatever. And then today we watched it, and for some reason, so this was on Film 4 last month, and you tipped it at the time, and I wondered whether this would become a date night film at that point. But when we started watching it, the sound was so messed up. The music and the score, great. But even though, normally we listen to telly around about in the 20s, the volumes in the 20s, and we were up at 42, but you couldn't hear what people were saying. It was like they were completely muffled. Yeah. And James Spader speaks so softly as well. He doesn't enunciate. As does the old woman. Yes. The young woman at the beginning who becomes the old woman who talks to James Spader's Dr. Jackson. You just couldn't work it out, and you could kind of get it if they were looking at the screen and you could watch the lips, but if they were turned away, their back was, or they were off camera, you really couldn't make out what they were saying and the nuance of what they were saying. So we got quite a way through until we sort of stopped it for like a loo break or something. And you looked it up, didn't you? You looked up on Twitter. So I searched on Twitter and everyone was complaining about this. Film 4 apparently is notorious for this. So I played about with the settings and it was a bit better. And we put subtitles on. Yes. Which is a little bit annoying to have to do that. But yeah, I don't think it spoiled my enjoyment of the film. No, it didn't mine either, because I thought, well, at least we know what's going on. And we do use subtitles quite a lot, actually, in telly, especially with a small person who makes a lot of noise. Yes. You do have to put them on quite a lot. It is your fault, isn't it? So, shall we, basic premise of Stargate before we get into what you think of it? Yes. So, James Spader is an academic. It's another academic there. Also one that gets laughed at conferences. Like myself, feel a bit of an affinity with James Spader. But he's saying that all we know about Egyptian history is wrong. He doesn't think that the pyramids were made by the Egyptians, but he can't say who they were made by. So he's sort of this quirky... I don't think he's a professor. I think he's a quirky doctor who we find out he's been evicted from his flat. All of his grants have been stopped, so he's penniless. And then he is found by the old lady. Yes. Just in inverted commas, that she's just an old lady who we saw in the flashback to 1928 was a young girl. We don't really get any other backstory other than her dad was the man who found the Stargate. Yes. Which we said at the time, that's not entirely true, because he's just the bloke in the Panama hat that walks up to the Stargate being unveiled, and there's all these other workers there. Like, the other workers found the Stargate, not him. But anyway, yeah, but like, he has people working for him, and it is his. He didn't put any sort of trowels in the sand. Alan Grant might not have dusted off the actual bones in Jurassic Park, but he was. You see him doing that. He's there with Ellie, and they're getting into they love going in the dirt and the sand. That is not the biggest problem with this film. Yeah, I realise that, Mark. Anyway, so old woman says, "Come along, James Spader. I've got something to show you. It's a Stargate," or as they are calling it at the time, a doorway to heaven, because they haven't translated the hieroglyphics properly, and they've been trying to do it for 2 years. And James Spader walks in and he does it in 14 days. Yeah, but he just kind of. No. They've been not even 14. Oh yes, it is. Sorry. Yeah. But he comes up and changes some words slightly, and everyone goes, "Wow!" It's like no, it means the same thing as it always did. It is. actually, when you read it, it's like, it has no bearing on the actual film that he changed some of the words.
Yeah.
It's like he got his little thesaurus out and went, oh, doorway to heaven, I quite like Stargate.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you get him writing Stargate on a blackboard.
In close-up.
Yeah. So, film title, there we are. And he gets the Stargate to work, and you're going to the other side of the galaxy?
No, universe.
You go to the other side of the universe, where there's a pyramid, and there are many people there who were under the authority of Ra, who turns out to be an alien, who is mining, making them mine for minerals that keep him alive.
Yes.
James Spader, and we haven't mentioned Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell is some sort of general or colonel or someone.
Kurt Russell is a tortured soul.
Yes.
We can tell that by when we first meet him, he is stroking a pistol while looking at a picture of his dead child.
And he has long hair at that point, but then later on, he has a haircut.
He has an
Very short
amazing
hair.
flat
It's
top.
amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's really good.
Do you know what a flat topper is?
Yeah, like, it's completely, like...
Yeah, but do you know what the flat topper is? Because he's used a flat topper. So it's a comb you got in barbers in like the late 80s, early 90s to like measure just how flat your hair was. And it's got a little spirit level in. I'm going to find a picture because everyone who went to barbers in the late 80s, early 90s will have seen one of these.
Were you tempted to have one yourself?
No, my hair's too thin for a flat
Yeah,
topper.
you would have to have quite thick to keep the hair standing up.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Wow, so the comb goes right through your hair to hold, like to sort of make it...
And then there's a spirit level to make sure it's perfectly flat.
I think that happened quite a lot on this film. So, yeah, Kurt Russell's there as well, tortured soul Kurt Russell, and the rest of the film is them essentially fighting against... getting the villagers that they meet to fight back against Ra and find their way home.
Yes.
So they go back through the Stargate again. And that's essentially it.
Yeah.
That is the film. Right then. Come on, give me your worst. You were finding this film very funny. One of the main reasons you were finding this film funny was that you were taking the opportunity to shout out loud some of the options available to teams playing on the BBC quiz Only Connect, which has hieroglyphics and its options, so you can say, I'll have the Eye of Horus, please, Victoria.
Yeah. And the Eye of Horus, or the Eye of Ra, as it is in this, plays a big part. So, yeah, that was always funny.
So you, at one point, were just shouting, two reads. And I was like, I can't
the lion.
Can't work out where this is coming from. And I had to, like, say to you, what is that from? Like, what film is it from? It's from Only Connect.
Yeah.
Fantastic quiz show.
So
come on then.
So there's a lot of people in here that I like in other things. So Richard Kind turns up.
Yeah, at the beginning,
yeah.
he's the one that can't translate the hieroglyphics in 2 years.
And do you know where else we've seen him on date night?
No.
He provides the voice of Bing Bong.
Oh, Bing Bong.
Yes.
Oh, I hate Bing Bong, but I love him at the same time. I've got such mixed feelings about Bing Bong.
From the 4-star classic Inside Out.
Let it go.
No.
Let it go.
No.
Let it go. Anyway, Richard is not in it for very long.
No, he's not, because he just disappears.
Well, because he's a rubbish academic, that's why. James has come in and gone, you can't translate properly, bye.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so he's in it for a short period of time.
So the dad from Heroes?
The dad from Heroes?
Yeah, so when they go through the Stargate, they find some miners.
Yes, like villagers.
MINERS.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So they've been made, they are essentially, well, we find out later on in the film that they were transported by Ra from Earth, like a long time ago, to mine. So they're essentially, I would say Egyptians, I want to say, from many, many years ago.
And the oldest one of them, who is like kind of the leader of them, played the dad in Heroes. Yes.
The dad of who, though?
So
not hormone-rimmed glasses, obviously, because that's what I think of when I think of the dad in Heroes.
So I can't remember any of the characters' names in this.
I know Milo.
So, right,
what's his face is in it. We know Thingy Patiniere is in it.
But there was a really bland Indian professor.
Okay.
Who was like kind of like
up
front and centre.
Yeah.
And his dad had written a book on superpowered people in the first season. That's like a plot point. Let me find it.
I have to say, Mark, I don't think this is the most important thing about the film that we need to talk about. I know you just want to find him now.
Yes. You can edit this out.
I'm going to.
Right, okay. So, cast-wise, who's the woman? Who's the love interest that's in this?
Oh, she's an unknown. So, yeah, James Spader typically gets a love interest. One of the villagers who is first offered to him as some kind of prize to begin with.
Waterworld.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's really like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's called Showery in the film, but she's not been in anything else really of note. She's done a couple of Law and Orders, quite a bit of TV. I looked her up while we were watching the film to see what else she'd been in, but yeah, bits and pieces, nothing major. Nothing.
I recognise her from something, and I can't work out what it is. Clearly, I don't recognise her from anything. She just looks like someone else. The cast are all fine. I mean, fine. I need to talk about Jay Davidson.
Okay, so let's talk about him then. So
yes.
Jay Davidson plays Ra.
I think we need to explain who Jay Davidson is.
Because he gets the "and" in the credits.
Yes.
It's James Spader, Kurt Russell, a load of other people, and then you get "and" Jay Davidson. So yeah, go for it.
Jay Davidson is the trans lady from The Crying Game.
Yeah, which I haven't seen, but I know that it's had a lot of... People have looked at it in a different light of late.
But everyone knows the twist in The Crying Game.
Yeah, that is a reveal.
Yeah. And I remember watching The Crying Game and thinking, who is this? Because in the film, it's played by someone who identifies as male. He really couldn't act in that film.
Okay.
So I went through this and kind of went and looked at him, and I think he has two acting credits to his name, which is The Crying Game and Stargate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So do you think that because he gets the "and"... Because, again, I don't know him. I only know him from this.
Okay.
And because he gets the "and", I was thinking he'd been in absolutely loads of things. But do you think he was just in The Crying Game, got a name for being in The Crying Game, and then had this part?
So I know exactly what happened.
Okay, go on.
So they offered him the job. He had no interest in acting again.
Mm-hmm.
They offered him the job for Stargate, based on the character that they'd written. He didn't want to do it, so said, well, if you give me $1 million, I'll do it. And they said, okay.
Interesting. The only thing I know about Jay Davidson in this, I don't know the backstory to it, but I know that they wanted him originally to have a bare chest. But when you're watching it, and once you know when you're seeing it, he has these breastplates that go right up to just his nipple, and that was because he refused to take his nipple rings out, so they had to cover him just to the nipple level. So it looks a bit weird because he hasn't got the battle armor all the way up to his neck. It's just kind of sitting at the nipple level. So once you kind of know, you can't help but see it.
Jay Davidson isn't a good actor.
I really like him in this.
No.
I think because he's really he's so otherworldly. He moves in this really interesting way. He's quite snake-like and chameleon. I think he's really interesting. I don't think he needs to act in this. I think he's playing an otherworldly character. He's not speaking a language that we know. It's a made-up alien language. Most of the time his eyes are glowing. But I think he's a really interesting presence here. I find him quite scary.
Okay.
Is it just me?
Yes. He is the least scary baddie I've ever seen.
I find him really quite freaky.
I mean, that's not his voice.
Is it not?
Well, I'm assuming not. It's not his voice in The Crying Game, so it's somewhere different from that.
Okay.
And it looks like it's
dubbed on. Do you think it's been modulated as well?
Yeah, or dubbed with someone else's voice. One of the worst baddies I've seen in a while.
That is so weird. Because I just think I think he's one of the best things in it.
Well, it's a different baddie, and that might say something to you, but for me, I didn't enjoy it. But he's not in it very much. His guards do come out and play. They are the dangerous factor in most of the fight scenes and stuff like that.
He's not, apart from burning people's brains at the end,
Yeah.
with his force powers from his hands. He's a bit mum-ra. He doesn't really do much but glide around. Maybe that's why I like him. I like all his costumes. I love his costuming is absolutely amazing. Sometimes there's bull's horns coming out behind him and the sun god Ra, obviously. And every time we see him, he's in a different costume. Maybe that's why I like it.
So to the themes in this, of all the crazy conspiracy theories, I find ancient aliens building the pyramids, one of the most interesting, if I fully acknowledge, absolute bullshit, like most other conspiracy theories.
How do you know?
Well, I don't.
We don't know, do we?
They probably didn't. Why haven't they been back?
There might have been. They might be hiding in plain sight.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not going to go down there. Don't worry. You know, I love a conspiracy.
I'm not going to out your conspiracy views.
I do love a conspiracy theory. They're not my views. I just quite like thinking about them. I quite like things that are slightly off from the norm.
Some of them are your views.
No, they're not. Sometimes I can't get my head around things. So I know what you're thinking about. I know I need to say this because people will be thinking the wrong things. But I have
No.
Yeah, I have a slight, not an issue, but I can't get my head around the fact that dinosaurs existed. I didn't think we would be going down this, but I just want to put the record straight because there are so many conspiracy theories out there that could be misconstrued. I don't want people to think wrongly of my thoughts. But dinosaurs, I have got a slight thing with that I just cannot imagine them existing. And therefore, sometimes when you talk about dinosaurs, I will say things like, well, how do we know that they were here? And you will point out all the paleontology, and I'll still go, yeah, but... So anyway...
And then we went and saw a dinosaur.
Yes! Not a real one, because, you know...
Well, it was. It was the...
Yes, it was a bone... What was purported to be the bone of a dinosaur, but how do we know?
This is the shit I have to put up with.
Yes, I know.
But you said, yeah, you might have a point.
You know.
So how do you explain your views on flat Earth then?
Oh, will you stop it? I am not a flat earther. Can I just make this abundantly clear that I am not a flat earther? It's just something that Mark likes to say to me in jest.
Moon landings?
Stop it. Anyway, can we get back to the film, please?
Yes.
Not just winding me up.
Yeah.
Where were we? I can't even... Right, so...
Yeah.
Aliens building...
Aliens building the pyramids I find really interesting, if absolute hokum, and yeah. So I was on a good start there. Mm-hmm. This film absolutely doesn't stick around. They meet the Stargate, and then within 5 minutes, James Spader is working on his computer that's connected to it somehow.
Yeah. It's the 90s.
Selecting, Roland Emmerich.
Loves his computers.
Loves his computers connected into completely unrelated technology. Yeah. Created by aliens.
Yeah.
Opens up the Stargate. No one thinks anything more of it. Just wander through. Yeah. Send a robot through first.
Send the robot.
Johnny Five.
Fine.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how the robot communicated back, but...
It sent pictures.
I mean, that was quick, wasn't it?
From the other side of the universe.
Yeah. And yeah, so then they go through. I don't really know what to say about this film, because it just sort of plods along.
Yeah.
They meet some villagers. We have that little, like...
It's like a meet cute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I say something, like in sign, like sort of... sign language of some kind, and you say something back, and then we come to a understanding, and I give you some food and you give me some food,
and then within 5 minutes James Spader is fluent in this language.
Exactly.
I mean, it took Amy Adams a full film to work out the aliens in Arrival, so yeah, a big win for James Spader there.
So yeah, I think it is difficult to have like sort of an in-depth discussion about the Stargate, but I think about the detail of the film itself, because once you've sort of said the plot, you've said the plot. But I think the interesting thing is what's around it and what's happened to the Stargate franchise subsequently. This was Roland Emmerich's big break.
Yes.
This film was absolutely panned when it came out in the cinema. It's one of the Roger Ebert's, one of his 1-star films, and it remained on his list of the worst films ever. So you know, he just said, I cannot believe this was even made. It's clunky. It's full of cliche. I mean, I totally agree.
Yes.
But you know, as a younger person, I was like 13 when this came out. I thought this was brilliant. You know, it really ticked all the boxes for me. But it did brilliantly at the box office. This was $200 million at the international box office.
Okay.
It was one of the, I think it was at the time, it was the biggest grossing film to open in an October weekend. So it's not opening in summer, it's not a big blockbuster, it's in an October, you know, we're not even getting to Christmas, October weekend.
I mean, there's some caveats there, isn't there?
Yeah, I know, but It did so much better than what they anticipated.
Okay, yeah.
So that really bolstered Roland Emmerich's career. And of course, the next film that he did was...
Independence Day.
Independence Day. And you can see the threads of Independence Day in this film.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You have the geeky scientist. You have the score in this is very... Well, it's David Arnold.
Yes.
And I can see David Arnold... would this be before GoldenEye?
GoldenEye was GoldenEye 95?
Yeah, he is auditioning for GoldenEye in this.
Well, yeah, because that's the other story that I was going to tell you as well, is this was David Arnold's big break. So, yeah, of course it is, before GoldenEye. He was working in a video shop, back in the day, in London, and he was approached to do this, and he decided this was it. He was going to go all out. And some of the quotes that I've read about it was, there's a particular scene where James Spader is going through the Stargate for the first time, and all the other people in the team are going through with fear and trepidation on their face as they step through the gloop to go to this other side of the universe. But James Spader looks at it and he smiles and he puts his hands into the Stargate, and it sort of makes these beautiful circles in this kind of watery surface that you've got there, and he's just smiling and he's full of wonder and excitement. And David Arnold said that's what he wanted the score to be. He based everything on that scene, that it was going to be the most wondrous, the most amazing feeling, and the score soars throughout the whole of the film. It never really takes a negative turn. It's always just full of wonder.
I mean, it's very... So I found myself singing "You Only Live Twice" with it. So it's very... Na, 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 na,
yeah, yes.
na, 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 na.
Which, of course, Bond... Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got all the sort of the links there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. There are plot points that we can point out are stupid. Like... Kurt Russell. So if you're demolishing a building, do you reckon the person with the bomb just waits until he thinks people will be out the building and then sets the timer going?
And yeah, but come on, I think this is what Ebert's saying, isn't it? Cliche. Let's set the timer on the bomb going, so we know we've only got 7 minutes to get out.
I mean, it's 7 long minutes.
It really is.
It goes away. There's 4 people fighting. They all have a break. They all have a Kit Kat. Come back. 30 seconds have gone.
And of course, at the end, they can't disable the bomb.
Yeah.
So they've got to find a way of...
Flicks a switch. Yeah. Doesn't turn off.
Oh no, they've messed with it. I think he says at one point, he just sort of covers it over by going, yeah, they've messed with it.
Yeah, messed with it so it can't be switched off. Yeah.
That's it.
The bastards.
Yeah. Do you know what then happened with the Stargate franchise?
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. So I know that there's Stargate SG-1,
which was the TV show,
and
one of them.
Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah, that was another one as well.
Have you seen any of these?
I started watching them. They have the similar Stargate SG-1 have the same characters-ish, but played by different people.
Okay.
So I think Kurt Russell. Do you remember Richard Dean Anderson as an
name.
actor? Look him up and.
Okay, right. Let's go.
I think you'll know him when you see him. But he replaced the Kurt Russell character. Someone else replaced James Spader. They changed character names as well. So Kurt Russell's son in the film, the son who dies, is called Tyler, but in the TV show they called him Charlie. I don't know why these changes were made, and the name of his wife was changed as well. So there's some weird changes.
Oh, he's MacGyver.
Oh right, okay. I thought you would know him from something. I
don't know MacGyver. I know the references to MacGyver. Yeah. Okay. So. Oh, wow, the Stargate Continuum as well.
Yeah, there were loads when I was looking it up before. There was just so many.
What happens in these?
I don't know. I think it's the same premise. You've got the Stargate, you go different places. I wonder whether it turns into almost like a Star Trek, where every week you go to a different planet or you go to a different universe, and so there's a thread.
The synopsis is, a secret military team, SG-1, is formed to explore other planets through the recently discovered Stargate.
There you go.
What, ran for 10 years?
Yeah, this is huge. There were books that came out. People want to go back to this. I think the idea is so good. People, like you say, you bought into it, didn't you? Going through the Stargate, seeing these new worlds.
Yes.
That sort of thing. You can buy into that. But it's been so troubled. I want to call it post-production, but it's not post-production. everything going on from this film and the TV series has been incredibly troubled, and that they wouldn't have been going back and doing. So let me start again. They originally, Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich wanted this to be the first of a trilogy.
Okay.
And you can kind of see that, apart from the fact that they put the end at the
Yes.
end of the film. It's kind of like, okay. That they wanted to be part of a trilogy, and they never got to do it. And I think they've just been hankering to get back to Stargate and get back to a film and do it again. So over the years, there have been loads of different times when Emmerich has said, oh yeah, we're going to go back to the Stargate, we're going to reboot it, or we're going to do a sequel. So Comic-Con 2006, I think he said something then. And then in Empire a couple of years ago, have you just laughed because I've said 2006?
No.
I thought you were laughing because I said 2006.
I mean,
I would laugh at me saying 2006.
I'm wondering where you got 2006 from.
I don't know where that came from. But yeah, in a couple of years ago, in an interview with Empire magazine, he said that he was definitely going to do it, but then it transpired later on that it was stuck and they couldn't get it off the ground. So I find it really interesting that this film from 1994, so much came from it, but they want to keep going back and they want to keep doing more, and then it just doesn't happen for them.
I mean, they've done well to get like a 10-year TV series.
Yeah.
And
like a load of books and a load of... Yeah.
I can't imagine this ever spinning off this many franchises and things like that.
I think it's got more of a story around it. There've been a number of lawsuits of people saying that they had come up with the concept and the concept had been stolen. There was one where one guy had said he'd come up with the whole idea, but had called it like Egypt Escape or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, which doesn't quite have the same ring as Stargate. But yeah, there's more to say. Like, if you look on Wikipedia, there's more to say around the film than there is about the film itself.
Okay,
and
that's
maybe
interesting.
that's why you're struggling to find things to say, because it is a bit of a straightforward action. Well, it's not an action adventure; it's a sci-fi adventure, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's, if we're going for Egyptian themologies and sci-fi and overlords coming down using the pyramids as a life force, it's better than X-Men Apocalypse.
True.
I mean, Jaws 3D is somewhat comparable. It's somewhat better than X-Men Apocalypse.
And I'm wondering. Actually, it's really interesting you bringing up Jaws 3D, because my date night films have often been
Crap.
slightly dodgy. I was gonna say slightly dodgy. Not necessarily like the art house films that you're or the beautiful Disney films that are not Disney, Pixar, isn't it? Inside Out's Pixar.
Same thing.
Yeah, okay. You know, you're really picking some classics, and I'm going for things like this.
Three Musketeers.
So I'm wondering where you would place this. I was thinking, actually, because you were laughing at it so much, and every now and again you were checking your phone as well. So I wondered whether you would place.
Oh,
this
I was checking my
above.
phone about things
To do with the film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I wasn't having a go at you checking the phone. I
You
thought,
were a bit.
No, I wasn't. No, genuinely, I wasn't. I was thinking, yeah, actually, it's a long film as well.
It didn't feel long.
Okay,
I think it sailed by, and I think
Okay.
that is a major
So
compliment.
it was 2 hours 10.
Because not all things do that you have picked.
Thanks, Mark.
It didn't feel like a 2 hours 10 film.
So where would you place it?
I can understand why Roger Ebert hates this film. I didn't hate it, although I could if you catch me in a different mood. I'm tired, I've had a couple of beers, and I think it's the perfect film for being tired and having a couple of beers and just wanting something to watch before you go to bed.
Yeah, it's a weekend.
If I was watching this on a Sunday morning when Blake was still in bed, I would be like, what the hell am I watching? I think it's better than Waterworld. Although I think the things that impressed me about Waterworld were the worst things about this, because Waterworld had a lot of practical effects, whereas this had very dodgy CGI.
Yeah, and the action in this was not.
Oh, the action in this it's not an action film.
No,
it's the fight scenes are just crap.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed it.
Good.
I think it's better. I'm struggling to think of a film I've enjoyed more that you've picked. Yeah, no, I think it's all right. I think it's a good film. No, it's not a good film. That's a total lie. I think it's an entertaining film. But I would rank this a good sort of... Well, I enjoyed it enough to give it a 3.5 stars.
Wow, I didn't think I would get the half. I thought you might just go for a solid 3 as a sort of a... It is, in all, seriousness, a date night film where there's... I mean, I want to say there's nothing offensive about it. There's plenty offensive about it.
I think this is kind of a B movie.
Yeah.
And in an entertaining one, I think there's, like we said last week about exploitation films, I think there's roles for a B movie. I love... have you ever seen Tremors?
Love Tremors.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Yes, yeah. It's just, there's a big gate that takes people to the side of the universe.
Yeah.
And then there's a big alien who's played by, a bit campy, but with a big deep voice that wants to kill people and blow up the earth.
Yeah.
And it's not far off Flash Gordon.
Yes, Great. Oh, I'm pretty pleased. So having said that, I pick the, as you say, the campy, trashy, dodgy films for us to watch.
Yeah.
It says a lot about me. And you pick the artistic, highbrow, quality films. What are we watching next week?
So we're watching a lot of cricket.
Yes.
Don't worry, there are absolutely no films made about cricket.
I was just thinking, I know we've watched documentaries about cricket.
The only film I can think of about cricket is called Seducing Dr. Lewis.
Right.
And it's a French-Canadian film about an island that needs a doctor, and so they try and win him over by pretending to play cricket, which is his favourite sport.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not watching that.
Is that your dream?
Yeah, we're not watching that. But lockdown has created a lot of lockdown haircuts and a lot of headbands.
I'm so confused. Right, you'll have to speak slowly because I'm hearing all these things and they're all mushing up in my mind.
Okay, so in the cricket, a lot of players have got long hair because of the lockdown and are having to wear headbands.
They are, yes.
And for that reason, we are watching First Blood.
Oh, Rambo.
Yes.
So I've never seen any of the Rambos.
Okay.
Which you probably know, that's why you've picked it.
Yeah.
Right, so when did this come out?
I think it's 1982.
Okay, so we're going back to the 80s.
Yes.
Amazing.
Let me just have a look. Yeah, 1982. What do you know about it?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Sylvester Stallone is Rambo. I don't know what Rambo does. I don't know where Rambo is. I want to say things, but I'm not sure they're right. And I would be scared.
Go on.
No. Is he called John?
Yeah.
Right, he's called John Rambo.
Yeah.
And is he a special forces? Does he get called to go into situations?
We will see.
Right. Is it problematic? Could people look at it in a problematic way?
So I think there is a lot of debate to be had after this film.
Right, that's kind of where my mind's going. Yeah, okay, right, I'll be interested to have a chat with you about that then.
Okay, but I think this is a film that we can have a conversation about afterwards for a lot of reasons.
Right, brilliant. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Is the Jimbo and Memorial Problematic Corner coming back out again?
You might be surprised.
Okay. Right, let's call it quits. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for everyone. I'm pretty sure that review of Stargate was quite incomprehensible at points.
I think that's probably why. A little bit like the film.
Yeah, watch the film. You'll understand why. It's a tribute review.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Before you go, just a reminder that you can subscribe to the Honeymoon Period podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can join in the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for The Honeymoon Pod. Finally, if you like this episode and you think someone else would too, please share it. See you next time.